Okay, it's time for a new video, and this time it's another comparison with the Switch 1 to the Switch 2, but this time with the Joy-Cons. Compare the Joy-Con 1 to the Joy-Cons 2. The overall difference is pretty much obvious in terms of the size. Here we have the Nintendo Switch 1 Joy-Cons with, I've obviously put some extra thumb grips on there to make it a little bit more grippable. And then we've got the buttons there, which are a lot more smaller, and we've got the screensaver there. The button there is allowed to take screenshots, and we've got the buttons on there, but they're a lot more tinier. And then we've got the actual sync button there, and obviously this things here are made of metal, which allows you to slide it onto the rails, whether it's on the main console itself or the Joy-Con grips. Similar thing we have here with this one with being neon, whether it's a pink or a red here. Obviously mine are a little bit worn. We've got the home button here and the plus button, and I forgot to mention the minus buttons here. And we've got the extra buttons here, so they can be turned sideways to be used as extra controllers. But as you can see, they're actually really quite small. Obviously similar thing with this as well, where obviously these are the buttons labeled there as X, Y, A, and B, and obviously these aren't labeled because it doesn't have a traditional D-pad as we've got here. So obviously these now obviously these the problems with what most people had with the Switch 1 Joy-Cons is the fact that some people suffered from Joy-Con drift in the buttons, and sometimes it was on, I don't know, I've had it happen on the left, and sometimes it comes and goes. And obviously you know, people have replaced them with hollow point Joy-Cons if you do it yourself, or you can send them back to Nintendo for repair, which I don't know if they obviously charge for it, so I don't know how it works now. Now, in comparison to the Joy-Con 2s for the Switch 2, now these are a lot bigger in terms of size. What I do like is that they've gone for the formal black, which is really great. The inner part of the actual Joy-Cons, they've gone for it's still the neon blue. It seems if you can compare the color here, it does look a little bit paler compared to the neon blue that was on the Switch 1. You've got the SL and the SR buttons there, but now these are a lot bigger now, and you can see the connections here. Where it magnetically connects, and you've got the what do you call it, the sync button here, and you've got a sensor here, because obviously you can use this as a mouse if you care to wish to do so. And then around the Joy-Cons here, they've put the an inner blue circle around there, so it gives it a nice finish. So it'll be interesting to see in the future of whether or not Nintendo release special edition Joy-Cons, Nintendo Switch 2s, and how they're going to be implementing it on the Joy-Con 2s. Whereas with the Joy-Con 1s, obviously they would tend to have completely different colored Joy-Cons left and right, and or patterns or images, or depending on what the special edition Joy-Con 1s actually were. And then with the Joy-Con 2 right, obviously that's more of an it's more of an orange when you compare it to this. This looks more of a neon. This close here. This looks more of a neon red, where this one looks a lot more pinkish. The actual lights that light up on here, they're on the side of here, similar to this on the Joy-Con 2, the left one. I think whereas those colored light up buttons are in the inner part of the Joy-Con 1s for the Switch 1, and a similar thing with that one as well. And then again, you've got an extra. You still got the home button, and you've got the C button as well, which have added to the Switch 2 Joy-Cons. The X, Y, B, and A buttons now are a lot bigger. So if you take a little close up on there, you can see how. So I can get it closer. You can see how much of a size difference there are. It's a hell of a lot bigger in terms of the buttons. So you're going to be a lot better in obviously pushing the actual buttons. Both Switch One Joy-Cons and the Switch 2 Joy-Cons have grips that you can use on them. I don't know where mine are at the moment. The original ones that I had for these were both grey, and I did buy some matching coloured ones with a neon blue for this one and a neon red for this one. I don't know where they are at the moment with these straps, so I don't know where they've disappeared to. With the Switch 2, obviously you get that, and it's totally different. So if I do find my Nintendo ones and for the Switch ones Joy-Cons, then I'll do another video. And as you can see, you've got a light thing on there where it lights up, and on that side as well. And you've also got the strap on there, and you've got the thing there where you can use it as a mouse. And exactly the same thing here with the right Joy-Con 2s as well. And these are really easy to connect. So it's just a matter of line. So you got the X, so you got the dash there, and you just spin this around, line that up. Oops. Get this right. And that clips into place. That's really easy. And then the same thing with the left Joy-Con as well. So the right Joy-Con, sorry. And they both clip into place, and that gives it extra grip. So even if you just turn it around, it still makes it a lot bigger to use. But what's even great is the fact that if I move this out of the way, you can use this as a mouse and slide across there. Obviously, you've got a flat surface. You can use it as a mouse because it has an extra sensor under there. So it will be really great to sit and do it. So you can do that. So that's really great that I do. So a lot of the RTS games that you have on PC, it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen when a lot of, like, you got games like Civilization that are already out on Switch 2. And that's going to be interesting to see using mouse controls and that, or on third-party shoot 'em ups. For example, I know that Metroid Prime 4 Beyond does use mouse controls as well. And then there's this basketball wheelchair game which uses both of the controls as mouse controls as well. So if you're playing, so for example, if they were ever to make StarCraft or, for example, Command and Conquer, it's going to be very interesting to see it using mouse controls. So now you can have that PC experience of using a mouse. Now, and I've heard that some people have used it at the Nintendo Experience, had issues with using the mouse controls for long periods of time. I'm assuming that what they'll probably will do is make larger accessories that you can clip on to the mouse, to the Joy-Cons themselves, to make it a lot bigger, so it gives it more of the ergonomics of a mouse. And so as you can see, when it's connected there, you can see how it looks there. So that's really cool, and hopefully the developers will take advantage of this. And then obviously to take it off, you simply just do that, and it simply just clips off. And with this one, clip that, and it press that, and it just comes off. It's a matter of just pressing this like that, and then that little thing there just forces this thing off, and it's quite light actually in terms of the actual grips in there. But yeah, that's really nice. I mean, it's nice to see. Although people just say that it's just a more powerful Switch 1, it's just nice to see that Nintendo still can be innovative with their actual Joy-Cons and products. Well, and obviously you've got the Rumble too in the actual controllers as well. As of all the buttons, to just sit and compare like for like, the buttons on this, on the directional buttons, feel a lot bigger, does feel a lot more spongy. Obviously this is a lot newer, so it does feel, you might be able to hear it, obviously it's a lot more bigger, so you're gonna have trouble because I've got big thumbs. And then on the Switch 1, it feels kind of the same. It feels pretty much the same, really. And then the joystick I'm using on this one, it feels a lot, while it does the job, you can tell it feels a little bit more as if there's more force to be used, and it's a little bit more coarse in terms of the way it moves. Whereas the joystick on this, it feels a lot different. You can't hear anything. It feels almost as if it's gliding on air. It just feels it's hard to describe it. It feels like it's gliding on. It's not gliding on anything. It's really, really, really smooth. So the buttons do feel different. We'll do the same thing with this as well, with the Y, X, A, and B. It's got like this tinny, spongy feel to it. Again, the only difference it being is that the buttons are a lot smaller. And then you've got the home button there. And the X, Y, B, and A on this definitely feels a little bit more springy. And again, it's a lot bigger as well, which is to be expected. And then you've got the actual travel on the actual joystick itself. Feels a lot more. It feels a lot more smooth and as if it's gliding on butter. Well, you literally wouldn't want to put butter in it, but it feels really smooth. So the joysticks feel a lot better. And the top buttons on there, was it the ZL, and the ZL on this is a lot bigger. It feels more spun. The ZL on the left Joy-Con 2 feels a lot more springier. This one definitely feels a lot more clicky. The L on this, very springy. This one feels a little bit more clicky to me. And then finally, the ZR on this, you can hear it. And the one on this one definitely feels a lot more clicking. I can feel the spring more. And then the same thing with the R shoulder buttons on there. So there's definitely a difference in terms of some of the buttons feel a lot more springier, a lot more softer. And then the Joy-Cons themselves, the joysticks themselves on the Joy-Cons 2 for the Switch 2 definitely feel a lot more smooth, and in terms of the way that when you're it feels like it's gliding a lot more as you're doing circular movement. So again, it's going to be interesting to see hopefully that Nintendo have eliminated the Joy-Con drift. Only time will tell whether or not this problem has been completely eradicated. But this is the comparison of the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons 1s to the Joy-Cons 2. I'm expecting the HD Rumble to be a lot more powerful on the Joy-Con 2s, simply because obviously it's called a Joy-Con HD 2, and obviously it's a much bigger Joy-Con as well on the Switch 2. So yeah, I love the fact that they've made improvements to the buttons, and they've increased the size of the buttons as well, so it's been much easier to press, and the gameplay should be a lot more improved. Also, I forgot to mention that that you can obviously buy the Nintendo Switch Pro Controller 2, which obviously for the Switch 2. You can use the Nintendo Pro Controller 1 from the Switch 1 onto the Switch 2. The only difference is that the C button isn't there, so you'll have to go into the menu to use the C function. And obviously the buttons apparently and the joysticks don't feel the same as the Pro Controller 2. So for the time being, I'll be using the Pro Controller 1. And eventually at some point I will get the Pro Controller 2, and then I'll do an unboxing video of that at some point. But this is the comparison video of the Nintendo Switch 1 Joy-Cons to the Nintendo Switch 2 Joy-Cons. And hopefully you enjoyed that comparison video.